starting now. There we go. And I'll be sharing my screen in just a second, but I wanted to come on first and just greet you and say hello. Hello from New Jersey. I am Kathi Kersznowski, as I said. I'm a technology integration specialist, so I'm a tech coach working with teachers, mostly elementary teachers, but I kind of serve the whole district, and then I just do a lot of PD outside of my district too. So I love to help other people learn, and I love to learn from other people. That's my jam. And so today, we're here to talk about Flipgrid and a specific feature of Flipgrid called Flipgrade AR. I am a Flipgrid fangirl. If you follow social media or anything, you'll often see that I tweet things about Flipgrid. I'm friends with the team from Flipgrid. I love the entire Flipgrid community and all that they have to teach me and the things that I learn there. It's just such a powerful, awesome platform. And I know that a lot of you are using it. So I think that this is going to be really exciting, and I think that you'll come away with a lot of ideas. And again, don't worry, because this whole session's being recorded, so you'll have this to look at later. Couple things, housekeeping things that we do when we start these webinars. One, okay, so this is true confessions. This is about my third time ever in my life that I've used Zoom. And so getting in here today, there are a couple things, a little bit of a learning curve. I think we're okay right now. I did hit mute all, so all the microphones should be muted. I don't know how to turn off incoming video for all of you, so I'll just ask that you kind of handle that yourself by hovering your mouse or your cursor toward the bottom of your screen and turning those functions off. But it appears to be working pretty well right now. If you have any comments, drop them in the chat. I have two computers open right now, so I've got a chat kind of over here, a window where I'll be able to see the chat. And hopefully I can answer any questions or comments or things live. We've got people here from all over the world. Wow, super cool. I love that you drop in where you're from. That's really, really neat. So welcome to all of you. And let me figure out how to do a little screen share, and we'll get started with some ideas for using Flipgrid's augmented reality. All right, so here's share screen. I think we're good. Okay, it looks like we're there. Great. All right, so interestingly, this presentation originally started off as Flipgrade AR 10 inspiring ideas for using the awesome augmented reality in Flipgrid. And it soon became 15, and then I put a plus after the 15 because I felt like it was going up, and then it became 20. I don't think we're going to hit 30 today. I think we'll run out of time before that. But here's the reason this slide says 30, because the plan was for me to be at ISTE, in California at the end of June. And, that's been postponed, but this is part of a presentation that I was going to do at ISTE. So you guys, you're getting to see it today. Here we are, about 30 inspiring ideas for using the awesome augmented reality in Flipgrid. So let's talk a little bit about what it is first. What is Flipgrid AR? So the screen that you're seeing over on the right-hand side, that's a screenshot of the Flipgrid app. So when I open the app on my phone or my device, I use it very often on my phone, that's the screen that comes up. And if you've never noticed, at the very top it says enter a flip code. So if you're going to participate in somebody's grid or add some content to somebody's grid, that's where you would type in the flip code. But just below that beautiful pinkish orange, Dunkin' Donuts color button right there, that says scan Flipgrid QR code. And when you push that button and you scan any Flipgrid QR code, magic happens. I'm going to try something I've not tried on a call before, so bear with me on this. I'm going to try a little screen share, and let me see if I can actually make this happen for you. Okay, right there, you're looking at my iPhone right now. So I'm holding my iPhone. Oh, hopefully you're seeing it. There we go. And that's my iPhone. Let me just swipe over to the next screen where my Flipgrid app is. And so you're seeing this live in action. And when I push this app right here, it will open and look just like the one on the right. So I'm going to push that button that says Scan Flipgrid QR. And I happen to have one here that'll come up at least twice during this presentation. So I have one right there. And if I scan this code, you'll see.
Hi, I miss seeing your smiling face. I miss the in your smiling face. I miss spending time with you. I miss the memories that we made in class. But there's something cool we can do.
And so I wanted to show you that it comes alive. Flipgrid AR is when the image of the video that is made in Flipgrid, it actually pops off the screen. It pops off the page a little bit, and it's really magical, and kids react to it just in the most beautiful ways. And parents are, even when you send things home to parents and ask them to scan with that, oh my gosh, it just takes something that's already amazing and makes it even more magical. So that's what it is, and that's a little bit about how it works. So let's come over and watch a demo from my friends at Flipgrid.
Welcome to Flipgrid AR, where you can turn any Flipgrid video into an augmented reality experience, just like the video you're watching right now.
Add a whole new dimension to book recommendations by sticking Flipgrid AR codes throughout your library.
Welcome your learning community with a personal introduction.
And share magical ideas, a learning process, or the creative spark behind the artwork in your school.
Bring your science fair experiment to life.
Immerse student voice in every special occasion. To start your Flipgrid AR experience, all you have to do is log into your educator admin and download the unique Flipgrid QR codes either individually with the share buttons for each response or all at once by clicking the Print Response QR Codes button. Print them out and stick in your learning environment.
Your community, students, families, colleagues, and guests simply need to download the Flipgrid app and tap on the QR scanner to augment their world with student voice.
Share, showcase, and celebrate community by putting student voice
everywhere.
Super cute. So that's how it works in the words of my friends from Team Flipgrid. And just to share a little bit more about what that looks like on your end. So to get the code in the first place, if you haven't seen this in the Flipgrid dashboard, once you're in your dashboard and you're looking at your list of all your grids, you're going to click on the name of the grid first that you want to open. You all know that there are grids, and within grids there are topics, right? So you'll click on the grid first to open it, and then once you're in the grid, you'll find the topic that you want to print the codes for. And like they said in the video, you can print them for your whole class all at once, or you can just print one for yourself that you want. And this is kind of what it would look like. So if you can see where the red circle is on there, I'm in the topic of the grid, and that red circle shows where I can bulk print the QR codes for my whole class. And it shows on the right-hand side, I put those little squiggles through them so they're not really scannable, but those were some real examples from students that I had. And it just prints out a whole sheet of those, and I can cut them apart. I can do a little snipping and resizing if I want to, and then use them in all kinds of fun ways. So before I started to show you ideas for this, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew what Flipgrid AR is, how you can create the codes yourself, and how you can print them out and how they work. So now let's, oops, and I forgot to show you. Yes, and this is how you can print just one QR code too. So if you click on the name of the student who participated in that grid, and then on the top right-hand side, as you can see in this middle picture, you would click there, and there's a QR code that can be generated simply by clicking on that share QR code. And I often do that. I will often print out just one because there's something that draws me to it that I want to share. All right, let's get into some ideas. All right, first of all, my feeling on Flipgrid AR is that just because you can print out a QR code and scan it doesn't mean you should do that all the time. I'm really intentional about when might the augmented reality feature of this actually be impactful. It's not just scan this and watch a video. You know, we've all done that with QR codes, and our students do that a lot. But when might having it really just pop off the screen might add an extra special, really cool dimension to it. And a lot of what we'll cover today are examples of that. Like I said, just because it's cool doesn't mean it's necessary. And then the last one, you know, the big star icon that I put down there at the bottom, think about the where. Is there a really specific and intentional place where you want to put this QR code? And I hope that in the next 20 plus slides, I'll give you a bunch of examples and inspiration. My hope is that when I show you these ideas, your brain is going, oh, that's cool, but you know what else I could do? And it sparks new ideas from you, because as much as I've had fun creating these ideas and sharing them with you, I know that every time an educator hears a story, he or she, you are thinking about the kids in your class and how that would make a difference to your situation. That's where the magic happens. So these are just starter ideas. I can't wait to see where you take them, because I know you'll do things way more magical than I am. The first idea, it's the first one I ever really came up with, and I have a couple of thoughts on this. So a book review, and look where I kind of put the little demo QR code on here. Not a book maybe that is an individual book that a student has, but whenever you have a collection of books, a class library, or the school library, book reviews can be super powerful. And the fact that they pop off the book, definitely engaging. I think littles would love it. You know, I call them the littles, kindergarten to second grade or whatever. But you know what? Kids of all ages and even grown-ups enjoy this. So if your students are doing book reviews on Flipgrid, and you can generate that AR code and put it on a book that's housed in a class library where others can come up and scan and get a little sampling of what that book's going to be about before they read it, it gives them a little technology boost to hook their interest and pride of ownership for the person who's created those QR codes, right? It's really empowering to know that your voice has been shared. Other people are listening to your voice to decide whether or not they want to engage in reading that book. So that's one of my first and favorite ideas. To go along with that, in the literacy classroom, I think it's super cute for books that students make themselves, or you know, that they make and they publish. And we know as teachers, we do a lot of that literary creation kind of a thing. So why not do an about the author? And there's no better way to do about the author than when the author's face and actual video of them is represented there right in the book. I can tell you, okay, top secret thing, I've just co-authored a book with my friend Becky Keene, and it's about Microsoft tools, and Flipgrid plays a big part in that, right? Because Flipgrid is part of Microsoft. And we did put, not about the author, but we did put QR codes that link to augmented reality magic, and they share voices of people whose stories are shared within the book. And it just adds this extra element to have somebody sort of pop out of a book and talk to you. So about the author, highly recommend that. I know your brain's going to other places. You could do things with that, I hope. And this is probably the most popular. So I've seen a lot of this on Twitter and people sharing this, artwork or projects. As a matter of fact, the very first place I ever saw FlipGrade AR demonstrated was a video of Team Flipgrid had gone to visit a school, and before FlipGrade AR was even released, Adam from Flipgrid stopped and looked at a wall and he said, this might be a cool thing in just a couple months. So he was dropping a teaser about how cool this could be. But there's, you know, there's a little picture, and there's, let's pretend that's the little artist over there on the side, and putting a QR code down in the corner where that artist can explain the thinking behind the project, the color choices, a little bit about what inspired it, why he or she did the project. If they were mimicking a certain artist, they could talk about how this is so much like Monet or something because of that. It doesn't just have to be an artwork or a colored picture. Of course, it could be any kind of art or project that a student does. And I've seen a lot of examples where students create murals or statues or models, and then they're attaching QR that explains their process, which there's a lot of learning that happens, right, when we re-explain our process, and others benefit from being able to see that too. So love it for artwork or projects. Oh, this is my favorite. I don't know, I have a lot of favorites. This is probably my favorite slide of all. And so I count this as one idea, but it's really 3 ideas. Keychains and Keepsakes, I call this, for Flipgrid AR. And this is, like I said, times when having something pop off the page, the augmented reality really counts. Look at that one all the way on the left. So I did that idea, oh goodness, probably about 10 years ago. I did that exact idea. I bought acrylic keychains, a pack of, I don't know, 50 from Amazon or something, and they were 1-inch square clear acrylic keychains. And back then we didn't have Flipgrid or Flipgrid AR, of course, but there was some voice recording software where I could figure out how to do it and generate a QR code. At that time, I was a computer teacher, and I worked with our first grade classes. So there were 5 first grades, and I brought them all down to the computer lab, one class at a time, and I had them read something they had written for their mothers, got the QR code recording, exported it, shrunk it down, made it just the right size, stuck it in the keychain, you know, and these went home as Mother's Day gifts so that mommies forevermore would have this cute little QR code of, you know, little Johnny with his, you know, missing front teeth and his lisp. Back then we had the audio of it that would pop out and they could say, I love my mommy because, you know, and it was really cute and super well received and moms were in tears. Well, just multiply that by about a bazillion because now we can do this with the power of video and exponentially on top of that, even more so because we can add FlipGrade AR so that video pops. And so the tears will flow with your mom, with the mommies or the daddies, right? So as we do these kind of gift things, especially with littles or especially, you know, it's kind of having the gift of somebody with you all the time on a keychain and just to have that video. So that's a super important one. The one in the middle, kind of along the same thing. I was thinking more teenagers, you know, maybe older kids kind of a gift, but kids can make gifts for each other. You can make gifts for your kids. I love this idea for remote learning. This is something you could do for your class now. Make a video, print out your FlipGrade AR, make personalized bookmarks, put your video down the bottom, put the directions maybe on the back, encouraging kids to scan it with the FlipGrade app. And, oh, by the way, if they don't have the FlipGrade app, the video will still play. It just won't pop out in augmented reality. So even if they just have something and they don't have the access to the FlipGrade app, if they scan it with any QR code reader, the video will still play and they'll still be able to see you. But wouldn't that be a beautiful idea to do maybe as an end of the year gift? I know your brains are churning again. And then the last one on the right. So I did this with my family and I did this with classes this past year. Christmas ornaments. When you take the time, your whole family could do one, or if you have little children, or if you work with young children, or even if you work with older children, oh my goodness, if you are capturing the memories from that year and, you know, Merry Christmas 2020, and you're putting that on an ornament that will hang on your tree and it will come back out again every single year, you've captured a video on an ornament. And that you will have and you will be able to cherish. These make great gifts for, you know, for grandparents. We had first graders, again, I went into a first grade class. The first grade teachers like to book me for these things. And we had first graders do ornaments this year. And they said why their mommy and daddy were on the naughty or nice list and gave all the reasons why. And so everybody was on the nice list, but it was really cute to hear these cute little first graders saying, I think mommy and daddy, and this is why. And they had prepared something and they read it and it was just super special. And those parents will cherish that forever. All right. Next idea, again, being super, super special, especially now with remote learning, with being away from your students, creating special cards. It's the same idea. Create a video that speaks to someone that's personal, all the things that you would handwrite in a Hallmark card or, you know, just kind of a special message. Video record it instead. And then you can just put that giant QR code inside a card. Handmade is even a bonus, right? And then send it off to whoever you love. You know, you could make these and send them to your students. You can make these and send them to the students before they come to you next year for class. So lots of ways to share this out. I just think that's super powerful. I love it for grandparents. Just another reason why when it pops off, it just makes it a little bit more special in augmented reality in FlipGrade AR. All right, oh my goodness, I better move a little faster. This is a really cool one. So this one I did with a 5th grade class, and I called it a classroom orientation guide. I keep trying to use that AR everywhere. What we did, I pushed into a 5th grade class. I worked with a teacher and the students in there and explained the goal of it. And the goal was, what if you had visitors come to your class, or even more so, a new student came to your class? You guys know in your classrooms, you have systems, right? You have, here's where the coats go, and here's where papers go when you're done with them, and here's the rules for the bathroom checkout pass, and here's all those little places are things that your students, when you get them at the beginning of a school year, they learn gradually with you. They know what to do. They know the routines. But new student coming in, it takes time for them to learn those routines. And I think in younger grades, those might even be more prevalent. There's routines for everything. This is a solution to that. we had the students of this 5th grade class go around the classroom and decide where are their routines or systems in here. And you see some examples that are on here. They had a job chart. There was a certain way that they were expected to fill out their assignment book and a certain time that they were expected to do that. So that was part of that classroom's routine. Rules for going to the bathroom, turning in papers, where to get your mail or your handouts at the end of the day. All of these were routines. So we had the students create Flipgrid videos explaining in great detail for a hypothetical new student, and then we printed out those QR codes and put them around the room at those locations. And it was fabulous. They actually put, one down by the nurse's office about, how to go down to the nurse's office and how you sign in down there. They ended up doing more throughout the school and not just the classroom. Really, really well received. And after that, when visitors would come to their class, sometimes they would say to the visitor, scan our QR codes, scan our Flipgrid AR codes. We want you to see how this works. And it was just really, really well received. And I think it's a nice way to give kids ownership of their own classroom. Right. This one's special. And I'm sure you'll think of different places than me. I have a friend who has a rescue farm not far from here. And one of my schools has partnered up with that rescue farm and sort of adopted it. They do some fundraisers. The rescue farm animals come visit the school sometimes. It's a really cool thing. So we said to her, my friend who owns the farm, what if we had students create QR codes that tell the stories of the animals that live here and why they're here, right? So at this particular rescue farm, she has a dog that has mega esophagus. It basically needs to eat sitting up in a chair. And there's a story behind that and why he ended up there. She has a goat that's missing an ear. She's had, oh my goodness, all animals with very unique disabilities and stories. And so we let the students record the stories of the animals and laminated those Flipgrid AR codes and put them on little signposts that are around the farm. So when visitors come to tour the farm, they hear student voices telling the stories of why that little, blind pig lives there. There are just so many great stories about the animals. It really gave kids a profound sense of being involved and making a difference and having their voices and being able to share and tell those stories. Now, this is a farm. I know you all are thinking of, well, we have a local museum or maybe our petting zoo or kind of anywhere else, right? You could do this so that children are empowered to do a virtual tour. And I think this is just kind of a neat thing we can do. This is a quick one, dedications and donations. So what you're seeing right there is something called a buddy bench. I don't know if you've heard of those, but there were kids. Buddy bench is a bench that goes on a playground. And the intent of it is if anybody goes and sits on the buddy bench alone, it means that they don't have anybody to play with or talk to right then. They're sort of feeling alone, and hopefully other children will see and come and sit with that child and be their buddy. And it's a really lovely thing. Well, we had one at one of our schools, and the idea here that I thought of after the fact was, what if we had attached a QR code to that said, this is a dedication, this is a donation by, the second graders of Wedgwood School that we want to give to this class. We've raised money for this, and we hope that people who sit here find a friend, just so any kind of a dedication or donation. That was my example. Again, I hope your brain is churning with ideas. This one's great. So this is for an older classroom, or I used to be a teacher in a computer lab where I had a 3D printer. I have a green screen studio or a film studio over there. Anytime you have some kind of technology or some kind of anything that needs directions, why not have the kids record how-to video and put it right on the object? So a 3D printer, how to replace the filament in a 3D printer, right? On a specific model, how to clear things off the build plate for the green screen studio. Here's how to set up the camera. Here are some things. And just to literally put a QR code right on the equipment that somebody can come up, scan, and there's video directions right there for how to use that piece of technology or that thing. Kind of a handy way to use it. This is I'll talk about this one very quickly. We did there's actually a day. There's a national day for everything, at least in America. And there's one called Encouragement Day. And I had found out about this and thought this will be a pretty cool thing. So I had teachers pick somebody else in the school, another staff member that they really wanted to encourage or that they were encouraged by. And they just recorded a little video message for that person. I printed out those on QR codes. And I have this little device here that I bought once upon a time. It's called a Sprocket. It's a tiny little portable printer. So when you put this cute little paper in there, there's this little glossy paper, and I printed out these stickers, and yes, they were stickers, and I designed them up a little bit. I used an app to design them, and then they printed out on the sticker, and I was able to deliver these stickers to the recipient of whoever was being encouraged, right? So they have a sticker that they could scan anytime they need a little pick-me-up. So I used that for Encouragement Day. I love this idea. I love this idea for now for remote learning. It's a heck of an undertaking, and you would most likely need a team unless you were doing this for your small class. But imagine enhancing an entire yearbook with video of each student who's represented in that yearbook. You know, it's I'm no spring child. I'm old. I'm just gonna say it. I'm old, and so when I did this, our pictures were in black and white, and you know, we had a page that said our favorite song or our favorite memory or things like that. But what if instead of a page that said that, it was actually a video of what I looked like back then, of what my voice sounded like back then, of things that mattered to me, and I could have had a minute or 2 minutes or whatever that recording time is. Flipgrid, you can record for quite a while. So you could set a time limit on there for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and let them just talk and include that as part of the yearbook. And I just think it's a cherished way to represent voices in time in really, really a special way. Hopefully your brain is turning on that one too. Hey, just like the Christmas ornaments and the keychains, gift tags, I did this for my family for Christmas this year. And every single person for whom I wanted to give a gift, I made a grid, and I was the only person, a topic, sorry, and I was the only person who was responding on it. But you can do that, right? Because it's free and it's unlimited. And I made video messages for each person, and then I printed them out and I made gift tags so that there was a gift before the gift. And it was the message that I had. So even though they took home and they may have eaten the candy that was in there or drank the coffee that was in there or whatever, they kind of have that gift tag to hang on to forever. And it's just a little memento for me, telling them why I picked that gift out for them and why I thought it was just something special I hope they liked. This one was fun. This is really fun. So whether you teach little kids or you teach big kids or you teach teachers, I think having a Flipgrid augmented reality on a business card, right? Even for us as grown-ups, as teachers, it's really awesome. What if you went into a job interview and you handed in handed the employer a business card and there was a video of you introducing yourself, sounding very professional? They could share that with colleagues after you left that job interview and say, look, here's what we've got from this person. Isn't she well-spoken? Doesn't he represent himself very well? So I really like it for that. But I also think it's a great thing for students, high school students who are applying to colleges or anything. I made a demo one over here in blue. This I made on another app called Bunsy. And this was one where I just sort of made a demo one. And this was, a kid named Antonio, and up at the top were some pictures of things that represented him. And he put a couple bullets, but no worries, because Antonio was going to pop off the screen in augmented reality and tell a little bit more about himself. I just think it makes a huge impact. On the right is a trading card. And I made that at a website called readwritethink.org. And they have a trading card generator that I've used with different classes throughout the year. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool if it was a trading card about a student, or even if they were doing a book character, and then they could tell a little bit more about that. So I think that's impactful. All right, so I got my start as a special education teacher, and this page just means a lot to me. There's so much potential with the augmented reality in clarification and modification. Definitely, definitely, definitely. So if you look at the one all the way on the left, that's some hard math, at least for somebody like me. So I know that if I were to watch a lesson in class and then go home and have part of that lesson or a similar explanation from the teacher in a video at the top of that page that I could scan, and there was my teacher coming out at me and saying, here's how you figure out the size of an angle. Here's how you figure out how many degrees are in, supplemental angles. And I just think that's pretty magical and really, really helpful for students who struggle with certain concept or who would benefit from hearing it again, not to mention your absent students, right? The one in the middle, again, as a former special ed teacher, what if you had a student in your class that was deaf, or hearing impaired? And so having a video in sign language on Flipgrid, attaching that to the top of a sheet when he or she gets home, or even just to access in class, everything that you're saying at the front of the room, it's nice. And I'm sure that child would have some sort of an interpreter, but take a look at how powerful that could be if the teacher had a QR code, a Flipgrid AR code of somebody doing the sign language that explained how to do that. And the last one, all the way on the right, what if you had students who just have difficulty reading? I know we have a lot of technology that can support that now, but if it was something that was on paper, or even if it's not something that's on paper, to have the teacher, an AR code of the teacher or another student or somebody else in the school who's doing that read aloud for them that could pop off the page. I just think there are a lot of beautiful applications for our special needs students using this. Oh, another one of my favorites. Our students, heck, we as grown-ups, we love certificates. We love our little, love notes that we get. And why not enhance them with not just a piece of paper, but a video message that goes with it? That certificate that a student got for, doing something particularly kind, or getting straight A's that marking period, or perfect attendance, or being the playground helper, whatever it is, to just put a video on there that they can scan just takes it to the next level. And it would if I were the recipient too. I don't think it's just for kids. I think we all respond to this kind of personal interaction. It adds a whole new layer. Again, for remote learning right now, I love this. I love the idea of sending certificates home that have you speaking to your students, and just even notes of kindness. Right now we're trying to do so much of that in the world, and I just think it just brings a whole more special element. All right, we're up to idea 16. This one is really about student voice, and this has been done beautifully. So I know it's a little hard to see because it's so tiny, but the content on there doesn't matter. That's just a screenshot I took of a newsletter that we had. And if you notice, it's broken into subject areas. There's your reading, your science, your math. What if your monthly or your weekly newsletter that goes home to parents, if you have that, whether it's digital or paper, what if you were to attach a Flipgrid QR code by students of them explaining, here's what we learned in science this week. Here's what we learned in math this week. And they went over the concepts, and they even showed the concepts, right? Flipgrid's got all those really cool editing features, the Blackboard feature, the whiteboard feature, the drawing feature, the stickers, all those things. Yeah, any of that can be a QR code. And so instead of you doing all the work, hey parents, here's a recap of what we learned, your students are doing the work. And the parents and the students will just feel such pride of ownership over it in this way when it's actually student voices. All right, idea 17. Oh my goodness. This is a big one, and I'll just gloss over it, but I have been the organizer of a major ed camp here in New Jersey, Ed Camp Happy Camper. And this is a sample of what a giant session board looks like if you have ever been to one. And it's a PD day where people choose their own PD, and it happens in different rooms throughout the school, and people sign up to do sessions. Well, wouldn't it be cool if there was a little description of the session that was a video, right, attached to the session board? So as people came up to look at the live session board, usually there's one that's hanging on a wall, or it's created, with giant Post-it notes on a wall. If there were session descriptions, and so people could choose their sessions a little bit better. It was an idea that I had put out last year, and I think some ed camps ran with that, and they were doing this. Okay. This was inspired by something. So think of an elderly person in your life, and this was inspired by a person that I love. A student brought in a photo of a grandparent that they had, and I said, you know what, your granny was sick. And I said, you know what, it would be really, I have a special idea. It would be really, really nice if you went and you interviewed Granny and asked her some questions. And we were able to brainstorm some questions. And I said, why don't you go home and do this on Flipgrid? and then I will help you with this. And that's exactly what he did. He went home and he asked his granny, you know, what was life like when you were growing up? Did you ever get in trouble? What's one of the favorite memories you have with your mom? Like different questions like that. And that was recorded in a short Flipgrid video. You know, it was about 5 minutes long. He brought that back. We printed it out as a QR code and we attached it to the picture and then framed it. And that was a gift back to the grandpa, but it's really, or grandma, but it's really a gift for that student or that person forevermore, right? Because that's an interview captured at a time when it was really super special to capture somebody else's voice. And I hope that your brain is going crazy with ideas that you could use that for too, because that's inspired some other ideas with me too. Any makers out there? So everybody who's into the maker movement or the STEAM movement, or even if you do crafts yourself or your students make crafts, what a cool thing. If I ever went to a craft show and there were even, look at this over here, if there was just this baked good and there was a QR code on there that explained, this is my grandmother's recipe. She came from Poland and she brought this recipe. It's not written down. Only grandma could. What a special way to think about that piece of bread. It's from the maker's perspective, telling a little bit about the process. Whether your students are making 3D prints and explaining a little bit about what they did as part of that process. Here's you know, something maybe somebody made in wood shop with a little gift tag on it by the maker that says, hi, I'm Miguel and I wanted to tell you a little bit about the product you're buying. I made it in a wood shop. And here's a bracelet up here. You know, whenever we're doing, here's a knit scarf. So whenever we're doing crafts and we're doing, you know, things, products that we're making, and I know that there are a lot of classes in the world now where students are creating beautiful things and they're really into the maker movement and then they're selling them for a cause or for whatever. I think it just takes it to the next level to hear from the maker about the product and the process. This one I have used with great success. This is super fun. So sometimes when I do a presentation live, you know, when we can all get back to being live again, or even before a presentation like this, I'll just put up a Flipgrid AR code, even when I'm presenting about Flipgrid, and I'll just put a note on the board. Please enjoy this message and scan this with a Flipgrid app or scan this with any app. And people wait for my session to begin by scanning this and they're learning a little bit about me. And I'll get some of that housekeeping stuff out of the way by putting it in a QR code of a recorded message of me. So I've done it before where, you know, the bathroom is down the hall on the right and I'm going to be talking for 45 minutes today. And if you need to get up and go to a different session, that's okay. Here's my background. It's been really well received. And I know that a lot of other people have done it with good results too. So just something to think about if you ever present or if your students are coming into the classroom and you think, oh, you know what, I'm just going to put the directions up on the board in a Flipgrid AR code today. And your students can listen to, you know, what you want them to know before you even are ready to get started. Just, I'm sure your brains, again, are thinking of other better ways to use this. All right. Oh, this was fun. I did this year too. And you might want to do this with students. When a holiday comes up, we made holiday place cards with Flipgrid AR, talking about ways that we are thankful. So you can see a couple of pictures there. There's a little boy saying, oh, I'm thankful for Abuela because she, whatever. And that was on Abuela's card. And the little girl on the right says, I'm so thankful for you, Uncle Fred, because, and that was Uncle Fred's place card. So just something to think about. I started this at Thanksgiving and then I tweeted it out and I saw a bunch of people were doing it for their Christmas dinners as well. So just something fun, and I'm hoping that inspires some new ideas with you too. There's a little thing I invented called a flip hunt. If you haven't heard of it, gosh, you can just Google hashtag flip or look up on Bing or whatever your search engine is, look up hashtag flip hunt. And if not, you can reach out to me. I would be so happy to tell you more about them. It's super exciting. It's a video-based scavenger hunt that happens entirely in Flipgrid. So you make a list of crazy tasks that you want your students or your friends or your colleagues to do. And they're going to be things that are videoable, right? It's not going to be just holding up an image or just smiling at a camera, but something like you're doing jumping jacks or you're running circles around something or you're reciting something or you're acting something out. Anyway, that's what a flip hunt is. And then my contention here was that you can level up your flip hunt game by making all that list of things to do, all Flipgrid AR codes. So it's not initially apparent what the tasks are. They need to be scanned. one at a time with the Flipgrid app. So then here, you can see there's a sample. I'm popping off that page and I'm saying, for this Flip Hunt challenge, make a video of your team showing and explaining the path of a piece of food as it travels through the digestive system. Name all of the organs through which it travels. You can draw it or use our model. Each person must speak in the video. And so that's an example of a Flip Hunt task. Usually I encourage people to make Flip Hunt tasks that are tied to the content, the academics that they're teaching, and then but make it something fun and interactive like that. So it makes for a great Flipgrid video. Okay. This is, I think this might be my last one, which is good because we're getting close to time. This is something I tweeted about just last week. And I don't know, if you're on the internet at all, you probably have seen this Bitmoji craze that's going on right now. And so I created my Bitmoji, and then I created a little Flipgrid AR, and I put it on there because a friend of mine told me that another big thing going on right now is this thing called the Flat Teacher Project. Have you heard of this? There's a famous project that's been around for a long time called the Flat Stanley Project. Many of you have probably heard of that. Well, in this time of remote learning, a lot of teachers have decided to take that and put their unique spin on it by printing out a Bitmoji of themselves and laminating it and sending it to in the mail to each of their students. And then their students take pictures of the adventures that they're having with the flat teacher. Yeah, and then they submit those pictures via whatever they're using. So hopefully they're submitting them via Flipgrid, but they could also do this on Seesaw or in OneNote or Google Classroom or whatever their system is that they're using. So this has been a big hit, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to take it to the next level, because it's not just the Bitmoji flat teacher, but let's add Flipgrid AR to it. And I tried to, let's see if this will work as a video. Yes, okay.
I miss seeing your smiling face. I miss spending time with you. I miss the memories that we made in class. But there's something cool we can do. I made you this flat, Mrs.
Uh-oh, I can't get back to my PowerPoint. I'm coming, hang on. Hang on, I'm coming, I promise. Okay, somehow in there I lost my PowerPoint and I wasn't able to finish sharing that, but that was actually the last Flipgrid AR idea that I had to share with you today. So I hope that you have found some cool ideas, some cool inspiration. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share that link. I will share it with Q so that they can post the link to that entire presentation. Of course, they'll already have this video, so you'll be able to go back and see that. I'm also going to tweet out the link to this whole presentation. So if you're on Twitter and you follow me, I'm at Kersey. I'll spell that for you. Oh, actually, I'll put it in the chat. So I'm at Kersey on Twitter. There we go. And I can tweet the link out to that entire presentation so that you can have that for yourself and you'll have all those ideas. I'll also give it to Q and you'll have this recording as well. I hope that you found some inspiration. We do have a few minutes left, and what I really would like to do is just sort of look at the chat, see if you had questions, and definitely celebrate ideas that you're putting in there. Maybe you saw something, you're like, oh, wait, I could do this, I could do that, and I'd love to see those. I think that's where the magic happens in any presentation. So you've listened to me long enough, now let me listen to you and hopefully share out some of your things. Yes, oh, good. You don't have Twitter, can you email the link instead? Pearl, I can ask about that. I honestly, I don't know how to email everybody that's participated in here, but I can ask the Q people if I can get an email list of all the registrants. Oh, somebody said they were thinking of using some of the templates from bighugelabs.com. That's a great idea. If you haven't seen it, bighugelabs.com has a lot of fun, just graphic things that you can create and just sort of beautiful images and things that you can make. There is a lot of fun inspiration there. That's a great idea. Oh, Peggy George, thank you for dropping in the trading card creator link up in the chat, right? So that's from readwritethink.org, and it makes great trading cards. We have done those with Greek. Our fourth graders have done that with Greek people or Greek mythology people for years. That's been the standard thing. Peggy, you are super helpful. Thank you for dropping in the link to the blog about Flip Hunt. Yeah. Flipgrid has on their blog something about Flip Hunt. I also have posted something of my own on a blog that I keep. So if you type in what's a Flip Hunt, that's actually the name of my blog. And so you'll get my original blog that takes you through how Flip Hunts started. That's been lots of fun. Oh boy. How do you get permission for Flipgrid for under 13 years old? Oh my goodness. Well, Flipgrid has 3 different kinds of grids that you can make if you haven't looked in there recently. The first one has them they log in using your school domain. So you specify, like at my school, it's at wtps.org. That is the domain that we use. So only people on that domain are going to get in. So it's a security feature. The second kind that they have is a student ID. So we use that a lot with our littles, where the teacher actually creates a grid and a topic, and then only people who are coming into that grid are students who have a username and a unique ID. So it's really locked down to protect their privacy. In addition to that, everybody who goes into Flipgrid has to authenticate through Google or Microsoft. So there's just a lot of security measures in place. I've not had a problem at my school. Flipgrid is definitely allowed for under 13s because of Microsoft security and all the things that they put in place to protect our students' privacy. So have that talk with your administrators. You can reach out to Flipgrid for some help with documentation and reassurances for that, and they'll definitely point you in the right direction. But there are definitely a lot of layers of security that really help with that. Elementary kids, how do they scan the QR code if they don't have phones at school? We use okay, that's a great question. We use iPads at my school, and a lot of schools have some sort of iPad or device or something like that. If not, oh golly, I'm gonna forget the name of it. Is it called Web QR? There are laptop QR scanning things. I think it's called Web QR, but I might be wrong. That will actually allow the webcam on a laptop or a Chromebook to scan a QR code. So it is possible to hold one up to a camera. Oops, I'm over here. Yep, hold one up to a camera and it will scan it, and then the kids can click on the link and it will open. So I've seen that done. It's not quite as impactful as having an iPad or an iPhone or an Android phone to scan with, but it's still pretty cool and it will work. Oh, thank you. Who did that? Maureen, thank you. Web QR. Oh my gosh, there we go. All right. That's great. I'm just trying to scroll back. Oh my goodness. Oh, good. And Kim, you're very excited to use Flipgrid. Oh, I'm so glad. Hey, Flipgrid, the team at Flipgrid does daily, at least daily, webinars. They're doing them all the time, especially during remote learning. Flipgrid for beginners, how to get started with Flipgrid, Flipgrid for tech coaches, leveling up your game with Flipgrid. They have all different titles. If you go to flipgrid.com, actually blog.flipgrid.com, and you can look on their site. They've got constant PD things going on, and reach out to the team at Flipgrid. They'll be happy to get you started, and you can also reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you get started with Flipgrid too. Just seeing if there's anything else. Oh, you like the EdCamp idea. Great. I can't wait until we can have EdCamps again in the world, right? They are just such a great thing. One of my favorite ways to learn. Book reviews. I'm happy you like the book reviews. That was my favorite. That was the way that I got started too. A virtual gallery walk. Yeah, that's great. That would be just great. A virtual gallery walk could totally do that. Maureen is saying it's kind of a replacement for HP Reveal and Aurasma. Absolutely. Yep. You guys are making me happy. You are very, very engaged and oh my gosh, tech venturous group. Okay, I think that I've answered all the questions that I saw in there. If there's anything else, feel free to type it in right now. Oh, for student awards, yeah, thanks. And if not, again, I'm at Kersey on Twitter. I will actually type my email in here in case anybody wanted to email me directly. So I'll just put my home email. And if you wanted resources or had follow-up questions and you're not on the Twitter, you can hit me up that way too. I think that we may be done. I hope you're really excited. I hope you're super excited. Go forth, try Flipgrid if you haven't tried Flipgrid before. If you need any help with that, you can reach out to the team at Flipgrid. You can literally reach out to me directly. I would love to help. I love to help people get started with Flipgrid. If you want to do more with Flipgrid QR codes, I will have that presentation available. You can go through that. Hopefully my ideas sparked ideas of yours. And the most important thing that I want to leave you with is, now that you're going forth and you're going to do this and you're going to do some Flipgrid AR, even during remote learning, do me a favor, share back with me, make me better too. So I know you are going to rock some ideas now. You're going to do this and really make an impact. Your students' little voices are going to be in creative places that they never were before. Share those with me. Share them with me via email. Share them with me on Twitter. Share them with me however you can. I'd love to see the things that you do and create with your kids and how you help them amplify their voices. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I'm looking at two different computers. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you have an awesome day. I hope you have a lot more fun at other Q presentations. I'll see you at some of those because I'm heading over there to learn too. Bye.